the co-author of Still Point, a self-care playbook for caregivers to find ease and time to breathe and reclaim joy, and also the co-host of the Women Connected in Wisdom podcast. Today, I am coming to you from the ancestral lands of the Muskogee Creek, a place now known as Duluth, Georgia. We're a northern suburb of Atlanta in the United States. Today, I am excited to be speaking to you during World Happiness Week and chatting about reconnecting with the purpose of your life and how self care and play are the keys to making a social impact. Just pause for a moment and take a deep breath. Whew. As a caregiver, master level social worker, artist, and social justice activist, I love to talk about self care and interplay because the truth is, caregiving is dangerous. It's a dangerous profession. And the last 2 years of this world pandemic have highlighted that. Often, caregivers die before the person they're taking care of or soon thereafter. This is especially true of folks taking care of multiple people, including their communities. I know the last 2 years have been tough, and we're all seeking joy. And how do we do this? In our book, Still Point, we talk about what self care is and what it's not. So let's talk about what self care is not. This one is one of the ones, if I were to get a tattoo, I might have tattooed somewhere. Self care is not continuing to educate and train ourselves to withstand more stress in order to take on more stress. We all know people who insist on staying in unhealthy jobs or relationships while asking for more help in order to tolerate more abuse more gracefully. We don't want to do that, right? We want to take care of ourselves. Self care is not putting ourselves through frequent, reoccurring cycles of overwork followed by crashing to recover. This rhythm of full speed ahead, followed by total collapse, is damaging to all dimensions of ourselves: the physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual. So you say, okay, Christine, that's what it's not, but what is it? What really is self care? We see what the media says it is, but what is it? Well, y'all, self care is tending. Self care is being actively involved with your body and tuning in, because being involved in a caring role creates the potential for taking on other people's tension and stress. In tending to ourself, we practice the art of not taking on other people's tension. And when we do take it on, by tending to ourselves, we learn to let go quickly so that we are free to experience a life of balance and vitality. Just by taking a deep breath and letting it out with a big old sigh, we start to tend and check in with ourselves. The process of self healing involves each of us accessing our own inner body wisdom and tapping in to the individual truth for what our body and soul need. It often includes self compassion, incremental steps, and being gentle with ourselves, like the noticing. What do we notice? How do we feel today? How do we do this? Well, first, we can literally start with taking a deep breath. Whew. Take a pause, a moment, take a deep breath, breathe with me, and let it out with an audible sigh. Take another deep breath. I invite you to take another deep breath and let it out with a sigh and a shake. Whew. Indigenous wisdom teaches us the power of shaking and letting things go, because there's a lot of things in our world we can't control. Being present and self-care are both vital to sustain our community care, our families, our neighborhoods, and the many circles that we are a part of. In the book Still Point, we talk about the 5 skills of self-care, and letting go is one of them. The first one we talk about is sorting and separating. I love to just peek and read it. Even though I've read it a lot of times, it's important that I think about it on a regular basis. Sorting and separating is about sorting what belongs to us and what belongs to others. What is ours here to do in this world? That's one of those keys to reconnecting with ourselves and our own happiness. What belongs to us? Number two, the skill of self care is letting go and surrendering and learning when and how to do this. Like sometimes in our best interest and happiness, letting go is the key. Number three, skill of self care, building and using partnership power to get help from others. This is my favorite. That's why I have a podcast called Women Connected in Wisdom. How can we lift each other up and help each other? Number four is stepping back to see the big picture and the relationships between the parts. Like, see how this all works together. Number five is about exercising choice and saying no in order to say yes. We've all met folks who like to say yes, 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 or those that like to say no, no, no. Often they're in relationship together. But let's talk about saying yes to things that bring us more joy. Let's talk about saying yes to more play in our lives. Do you know that the latest research about play and the power of play for adults is awesome? I was listening recently to Andrew Huberman's podcast, Huberman Lab. He's a researcher and a neuroscientist out of Stanford University. And the latest research is showing the absolute power of play and the many benefits it has on our brains. So, y'all, play as adults, it works for kids. We already knew this, but often we don't play as adults. Play helps our brains to improve. It helps us to flow between the multiple complexities of our lives. It can improve our memories, ward off diseases, and y'all, it's fun. So, I want you to check in with yourself. I want you to think about, how do you like to play? Is it sports? Is it dance? Is it hiking in nature? Is it word games? Is it board games? How do you like to play? And if this is hard to access, think about how you played as a child and what really brought you joy. I'm going to take a moment and think about the last time you experienced relaxation, joy, and happiness. Where were you? Who were you with? What were you doing? Here's the thing, y'all. If we can identify that feeling and notice it within us, we can have more of it. So, if the last time you experienced relaxation and joy, you were doing a certain exercise and you were outside and you were with your best friend, you could schedule and calendar that and make more of that. So there's all kinds of ways to check in with ourselves. One of the things we talk about is being present. We can notice when we're having fun and make a note, kind of look around. Who are we with? What are we doing? How can we have more of that? Because, y'all, two things. We don't have to do this by ourselves. Even though I talk about self-care, it's okay to do it within community. It's okay to have somebody that you like to meet to go play a game with, or racquetball, or get an incredible soul nurturing hug from. We can do it in community because play, self-care, they're vital to sustaining and thriving in our community care. And I wish this for each and every one of you. If you want to get a hold of me, you can find me at my website, ChristineGautreaux.com. You can check out Women Connected in Wisdom podcast. We're on all the social media sites, and send me a direct message. I'd love to connect and hear what brings you joy and happiness today and always.